What you are about to hear is not advice. It is a shift in how you walk, how you speak, how you command your life. Most men live blind to this truth. Life bends to their assumptions. The way you expect it to go is the way it usually goes, not because of fate, because of focus. Because what you hold in your mind becomes the blueprint for how you move, how you speak, how you persist, or how you retreat. So hear me now. What if you decided right now that everything was working for you, even when it's silent, even when it hurts, even when there is no proof at all? What if you lived like the outcome was already secured, like the door was already open, and all you had to do was walk through it? This is not fantasy. This is engineering, mental warfare at the highest level. This is the way the greats moved through fire. Henry Ford did not hope. He decided. He poured belief into the invisible until the visible bent to his will. Thomas Edison did not wonder after 10,000 failures. He carried success in his mind long before the world could see it. Charles Schwab moved from faith, not fear, until steel empires bent around his certainty. Andrew Carnegie did not flinch. He acted like it was already done, because in his mind it was. That energy built legacies. That energy can build yours too. The only question is, why not you? Why not now? You have spent enough time hesitating, enough time shrinking, enough time feeding stories of fear. Today the old version of you dies. You cannot serve two minds. One must fall. The man who doubts, the man who hesitates, the man who begs for signs. He cannot walk with the man who commands. Today you choose. Today you shift. Assume that everything is working for you. Not someday. Now assume it when it's heavy. Assume it when it's silent. Assume it when there is no applause, no clarity, no guarantee, because assumption is not arrogance. It is alignment with destiny. Most men sabotage themselves before the world even gets a chance to. They speak fear into existence. They act timid. They build hesitation like a fortress around their dreams, and then they wonder why their lives collapse under the weight of their own doubt. But when you assume that victory is inevitable, you move differently. You speak differently. You endure differently. You persist differently. You don't need to see the staircase. You walk as if it's already there, and the staircase appears under your feet. Faith and fear cannot sit on the same throne. One must be crowned king. When you assume success, when you move like destiny is rigged in your favor, you become untouchable, not because storms don't come, but because storms cannot sink a man who has already decided he will not drown. Fear cannot live where certainty breathes. Doubt cannot root itself in a mind ruled by belief. Faith is not something you wait for. Faith is something you build. It is action without evidence. It is movement without permission. It is speaking life into rooms where silence reigns. Most men fold because they expect to fold. They collapse because they never trained themselves to stand. But you are different now. You walk in command. You move with conviction. You declare outcomes. You don't negotiate them. Every struggle, every delay, every betrayal you have faced was not sent to break you. It was sent to build the version of you that could actually carry the life you asked for. The pain was construction. The silence was strengthening. The confusion was correction. What if you stopped seeing the struggle as evidence against you and started seeing it as evidence that the mission is real? Most men rehearse failure in their mind. They wake up expecting problems. They rehearse betrayal. They rehearse loss, and life, obedient to their expectations, delivers exactly what they practice. But belief is a different kind of rehearsal. Belief is waking up with a quiet, unshakable voice in the back of your mind that says everything is working for me, even when it's slow, even when it's silent, even when the scoreboard says you're losing. You move like the outcome is guaranteed. You execute like the door is already unlocked. You persist like the world is already bending to meet you, not because you have proof, because you are the proof. You believe first, you act first, you move first, and the world catches up. Your mind accepts what you repeat. If you feed it fear, it will find it everywhere. If you feed it power, it will build it everywhere. So choose your loop, Choose your language. Choose your lens. Because the moment you assume that success is inevitable, your mind, your focus, your energy begins bending reality to match it. You no longer fear the silence. You lead it. You no longer dread the unknown. You build inside it, and by the time the world sees it, by the time they ask how you did it, you will simply smile, because it was decided long ago. You no longer fear the silence. You lead it. You no longer dread the unknown. You build inside it. By the time the world finally notices, you won't be explaining, you'll be executing. Because it was already decided in you long ago, understand this, your mind does not seek the truth. It seeks the familiar. It believes whatever you feed it the most, not because it's real, but because it's repeated. Most men live trapped not by their limitations, but by their rehearsals. They rehearse fear. They rehearse betrayal. They rehearse loss. And life, loyal to their expectation, delivers it. Say, nothing ever works out for me, and the mind obeys. Say, I always lose, and the mind agrees. Your thoughts aren't private. They are blueprints, and your mind is building without hesitation. But you can just as easily rewire the program. Wake up, no matter the silence, and declare it. Everything is working for me. Move before proof appears. Act before evidence arises. Persist even when the scoreboard shows defeat. Because the man who persists without proof soon commands the proof. The world bends to the one who moves without waiting. This is not delusion. This is command. This is engineering your reality through mental force, not emotional weakness. Thomas Edison didn't wonder if it might work. He assumed it had already worked, and just needed to meet him in time. He didn't ask if the light was possible. He asked what else he could try until the world caught up to what he had already decided. That is the fire you build now. That is the certainty that must rise inside you. You are not here to negotiate with the future. You are here to forge it with every step. There is a reason most men stay average even with talent, because they drift. They scatter their power across a dozen half-built dreams. They move without mission, without spine. A man without a definite purpose is a man without gravity. Everything pulls him off course. Every voice has power over him. Every obstacle makes him question his direction. But when you have purpose, real, final, branded into your soul, you are immovable. You stop hoping. You stop chasing. You stop hesitating. Purpose is not a list. It is not a wish. It is a sentence carved into your bones that makes every other decision simple. Look at any man who built something eternal, and you will find this. Henry Ford didn't wake up hoping to be wealthy. He woke up knowing he would revolutionize the world, and wealth followed. Charles Schwab didn't wander his way to power. He chose it, sharpened it, lived it until others had no choice but to follow. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for perfect clarity before leading a nation through fire. He anchored himself to principles so deep that no chaos could shake it loose. You need that now. Write your sentence. One line, one mission, one unbreakable decision that everything else must bow to. Without it, your discipline will collapse. Your motivation will waver. Your mind will betray you when pressure rises. But with it, even your setbacks will fuel you. Even your silence will shape you. You will no longer envy others, because you will know where you are going. You will no longer panic, because your compass is internal. You will no longer shrink because you move from authority, not approval. Purpose builds a spine where there was once hesitation. Faith, real faith, does not descend from heaven one morning. It is built, it is earned, it is forged. It is not a feeling. It is not luck. It is not hope. Faith is constructed through repetition, through action, through discipline, so ruthless that the subconscious has no choice but to submit. Your mind does not care what is true. It cares what you tell it over and over again. Repeat fear. You will walk in fear. Repeat power. You will walk in power. You cannot casually flirt with greatness and expect to embody it. You cannot rehearse hesitation and expect conviction to show up when it matters. Faith is not built on perfect days. It is built in resistance. It is hammered in when you keep your word in silence, when you move in darkness, when you lead when no one claps. Autosuggestion is not a game. It is the forge where your new identity is shaped. Speak your future aloud until your mind has no choice but to obey. Visualize your victories until your spirit believes them more than your eyes do. Move now. Move daily. Move especially when it's hard, because every time you act without seeing, you strengthen the man who cannot be shaken. You will not find faith waiting. You will build it walking. And the man who builds it, the man who repeats it until it is louder than doubt, he cannot lose. He will not lose, because long before the world believes him, he already believes himself. There comes a moment where comfort must be killed, where the old self must be buried so the new one can rise, not symbolically, not emotionally, but absolutely. You burn the bridge, you remove the way back, you kill every exit that whispers, "Maybe I'll return if it gets too hard." Because as long as the door is open, your mind will find it. As long as retreat is an option, hesitation will live in your blood. Understand this transformation does not happen until the retreat is gone. You cannot build a new future while keeping shelter for your old self. You cannot move forward while still bargaining with the man you used to be. Burn the bridge, remove the staircase back to comfort. Shut every door that gives weakness oxygen. Charles Schwab didn't rise to power because he was the most technical man in the room. He rose because he decided with such finality that the room bent around him. He walked like the future was non-negotiable, because to him it was. Andrew Carnegie didn't collect men who were interested. He collected men who were obsessed, men who burned their backup plans so deeply that the only option left was to build the future or die trying. You must move like that now. The man you used to be, the man who wavered, who delayed, who doubted, he cannot live another hour. Every time he whispers, you silence him with movement. Every time he begs for comfort, you crush him with discipline. You no longer need balance. You need fire. You need decision. You need war in your blood and peace in your mind. Burn the bridge. Kill the fallback plan. Remove the what if. Move like this is the only shot, because it is. The clock does not pause. The world does not wait, and neither will you. No man rises alone. Discipline is born in solitude, but acceleration, explosion, domination comes from alignment. You become the environment you allow. You mirror the energy you tolerate. You absorb the beliefs you are surrounded by. You are not strong enough to drag the weak into strength. You are not wise enough to reason the unfocused into focus. You must guard your circle like your life depends on it, because it does. The mastermind is not luxury. It is necessity. It is the convergence of minds sharpened by fire, pulling each other higher with a force no man can generate alone. Henry Ford built a circle of brilliance around him. Thomas Edison worked in laboratories where vision was the oxygen. Carnegie attributed his fortune to one thing more than any other: alignment of minds moving with shared clarity. You must either find it or build it. One mind aligned with yours. One voice speaking conviction when yours grows tired. One presence reminding you that the standard is sacred. You must be ruthless. You must be precise. You must eliminate the weak voices who drain you, not with anger, but with silence. If a man's life does not reflect the future you are building, you do not take advice from his lips. If a man's energy is confusion, you do not mirror it. You build your mastermind the same way you build your mind, with discipline. And until it is formed, you become it. You live as the standard. You speak as the example. You walk in such certainty that others either rise to meet you or fall away without a word. Because a divided mind is a dead mission, and you were not sent here to drift. You were sent here to build an empire of self so solid that the storms of life cannot crack it. You do not wait for the perfect environment. You create it. You live it. And when you do, acceleration becomes inevitable. Before the applause, before the money, before the momentum, there must be belief, and not belief when it's easy. Belief when it's invisible. Belief when it's silent. Belief when there is nothing but the sound of your own footsteps. No man ever accomplished anything of greatness by waiting for signs. He moved first. He built first. He acted first. Faith is not optional. It is the foundation. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for clarity to come from the crowd. He anchored himself in principle before the world agreed. Henry Ford didn't wait for market research to validate his dream. He moved with such force that the market had to adjust to him. Rockefeller didn't wait for the economy to make sense. He saw wealth where others saw chaos, because in his mind it was already his. Faith precedes results. Belief precedes evidence. The vision is built long before the world sees the structure. Fear says wait. Fear says maybe. Fear says when it's perfect. Faith says now. Faith says act. Faith says I do not need proof because I am the proof. You will never outperform the belief you hold in your blood. So feed it daily. Speak it daily. Move like the future has no choice but to catch up to your steps. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are becoming it. Most men waste years waiting for clarity. They think decisions are made by committee. They think certainty will arrive in the mail. But clarity does not come before the decision. Clarity is the reward for the man who moves without it. You do not drift your way into greatness. You do not stumble your way into domination. You decide. One decision. One final cut from hesitation to commitment. One act of violence against the old life of delay. Indecision is the death of kings. Every time you pause when you should strike, you leak power. Every time you hesitate, you teach your mind that fear has a seat at the table. A man who delays decays. He becomes a graveyard of half-finished dreams. He becomes a monument to what could have been. But a man who decides, even in the fog, even in the chaos, builds momentum that cannot be stopped. Henry Ford was not the most brilliant man of his time. He was simply the most decided. When the world called him crazy, he moved like it was already done. When Charles Schwab was given command of entire empires of steel, it wasn't because he knew every answer, it was because he made the hard calls when weaker men froze. Andrew Carnegie didn't beg for guarantees. He created them through force of decision. You must do the same. You draw the line. You pick the mission. You pick the man you are becoming. And when the voice of doubt shows up, and it will, you ignore it, because the decision is already made, because the bridge back is already burned, because you are no longer a man who waits. You are a man who moves. You must understand the world rewards those who do more than expected, not those who do just enough to survive. The man who rises is the man who exceeds the standard before anyone asks. The man who outlasts is the one who over-delivers long after others have clocked out. You are not paid for time. You are paid for value, and value is multiplied in the man who gives without needing permission. The average man says, I'll do more once I'm paid more. The exceptional man says, I'll give more now, and force the universe to pay attention. Look at every builder of empires and you will find this law burned into their actions. Carnegie rose from poverty because he learned to do more than his job required. Edison became a legend because he worked beyond exhaustion, beyond comfort, beyond the reasonable. Ford revolutionized industry not because he asked for permission, but because he demanded more of himself and his team than anyone thought possible. You must install this law in your soul. You do not do the minimum. You do not check the box. You do not ask, what am I owed? You ask, what else can I give? Because the extra mile is the empty mile, and that's why it holds all the power. Everyone says they want to win. Few are willing to stay longer, to push harder, to sharpen their craft when no one is clapping. You must live there. You must breathe there. You must dominate there. The world might not reward you today. It might not notice tomorrow. But eventually reality bends to the man who refuses to quit giving more. This is not motivational noise. This is universal law. He who gives more becomes more, and he who becomes more owns more. More opportunity, more influence, more impact. So ask yourself, not once but daily, where can I go beyond? Where can I exceed the standard? Where can I act like an owner while everyone else moves like a worker? The man who do not move like you are chasing a weapon the world cannot ignore. You move like you are leading it. You were not born to be ignored. You walk like the outcome already exists, and the world is simply catching up. The scoreboard does not define you. The circumstances do not instruct you. You instruct them. You shape them. You decide how this ends. You will not wait for confidence to arrive. You will not beg for signs to appear. You will not pause your mission for another man's permission slip. You have already crossed the line that most never will. You have already burned the bridge most will never dare touch. There is no going back to the man who doubted. There is no doorway left for the man who flinched. You live in the future you decided on. You speak from the finish line. You breathe the air of a reality already forged. From this point forward, every action, every word, every step reflects the certainty that it is already done. When others hesitate, you move. When others wonder, you build. When others need applause, you move in silence, stacking bricks they cannot even see. You are not confused. You are not debating. You are not waiting for the right moment. You are the moment. You are the decision. You are the green light. And the man you are becoming has no room left for negotiation. If it is hard, good. If it is slow, good. If it is lonely, good. Because you are not here to be entertained. You are here to be built. You are here to forge what the weak will never understand. The world responds to the man who no longer doubts his own voice. It moves for the man who no longer flinches under pressure. It bends for the man who shows up already crowned in his own mind. You are not proving anything anymore. You are living proof. You are not explaining anymore. You are the explanation. You are not hoping anymore. You are the reality that others will adjust to. The applause will come. The results will come. The momentum will come. But you don't need them. You are not waiting on them. You move now. You move daily. You move relentlessly, because you decided, because you burned the bridge, because you are not asking for the future, you are commanding it. This is not motivation anymore. This is identity. And from this moment forward, you walk like it's already yours. You speak like it's already unfolding. You work like the mission is inevitable. You don't shrink. You don't hesitate. You don't negotiate. You walk like it's done. You walk like it's done. You speak like it's law. You move like you cannot be denied. When they question you, you don't defend. When they doubt you, you don't explain. When they leave, you don't chase. You stay locked. You stay lethal. You stay loyal to the man you decided to become. Your focus is not casual. Your energy is not for sale. Your time is not negotiable. Every step forward is a statement. Every word you speak is construction. Every breath you take carries the weight of destiny already secured. The world may not see it yet. They don't have to. Their belief was never the requirement, only yours. You walk into every room already crowned. You move through every obstacle like it was made for you. You live as the evidence that vision becomes reality for the man who refuses to betray himself. Nothing owns you anymore. Not the past. Not the delays. Not the betrayals. Not the fear. You are already moving at a frequency they cannot touch, already operating at a level they cannot track, already commanding a future they won't understand until it's too late. You are no longer building quietly for approval. You are building because it is who you are, and whether they notice now or notice never, it doesn't change the outcome, because it is already written. It is already decided. It is already done. You walk like it's done. You move like it's done. You become what was always waiting inside you to be unleashed. Now move. Now act. Now live it. The crown was never given. It was built. And you wear it now.